Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the next episode of This is Life. It is your host, Brandon Harrison, and this is a faith based encouragement podcast to help you navigate through life. And we are all trying to figure out how to navigate through life and the different things that this year has thrown us. And part of that has been figuring out life as from a Black perspective as well. That's been a big topic this year. So we're in the middle of that series. We've been doing this for 3 months now. And I've got to talk to some incredible people every week and just sharing their stories. That's the goal, because sometimes we just think there's one Black perspective or this one Black person said this and that's everybody's perspective. But I've enjoyed hearing different perspectives on people's journeys. And that's the biggest thing, because I've suffered some loss in my family this year, and I've just been
Wow.
hearing
Yeah.
about so many of my stories from my dad and my grandpa, and they passed this year, and just their stories are so important. That's why I've loved hearing. If it doesn't encourage anybody else, it's been encouraging me. And this person I get to talk to today, and you hear their story, is Miss Tamera Hill. And I've got to see almost all of your plays in San Diego that you've done, and
Oh,
all
thank
the things you have
you.
on Netflix. And my wife and I have been just huge supporters and just enjoy the work that you're doing, everything from different theaters to
Oh,
Jacob Center, and just the life and the community that you bring is just incredible through theater. And I used to be a theater major when I was in college, and then I switched it up and I finished up being a theater minor. So I've always loved the arts and just all the stage productions you do, and now going into film. I've just loved seeing your growth and your journey. But for those who don't know you, Miss Tamara, tell everybody a little bit about your journey. How did you get to where you are today? I know it's a big question, but just
yeah, I
where you
was
at
just
on
getting ready to say that is a loaded questions with a whole lot of layers to it. So
yeah.
we'll try to peel back all the layers in this interview about who I am and how I arrived to the point where I am now. But just to start, let's start from the beginning. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. Buckeye, yes, yes, the Buckeyes have to represent.
Yeah.
And grew up there and came out here when I was 18. And my parents separated for a very brief time.
Mhm.
And my mom ended up going back home, but I love San Diego. I love the weather, and the church that I was at that time.
Mhm.
Really liked that church. So I wanted to stay. So my mom went back and I stayed here and went to college. And from there, I just never moved back to Columbus, Ohio. And being out here, I was attached to North Park Apostolic.
Mhm.
A lot of people know that church. That church has been around forever in a day.
Right.
That's where I would say my training ground for a lot of things happened.
Mm.
It prepared me for a lot. Um, I was just talking to my husband the other day, and I was saying, you know what? I really put in some dues. I
Mm.
really did. I served,
Yeah.
under a few people, a few men and their visions, and Bishop Trout. He had uh, a record label called King David Records, and he hired me straight out of college to be his VP.
Wow.
And I learned so much there, and I literally ran that company. And we signed artists, and one of our artists went to the gospel charts, the Billboard's top 20,
Nice.
and secured national distribution for this artist. And I really traveled the United States, was on the plane all the time, just a young lady, just gone and doing single and doing my thing. But served him well in a lot of areas. And then I went on to Pastor Terrell Fletcher's
Right.
church,
Mhm.
and help him get his ministry started as well at the City of Hope. Joined the team of about 6 of us that started. And he said he wanted to start a church. I was talking to him on the phone, and he said he wanted to start a church. And I said, hey, I'm in.
Nice.
And went and helped him start the beautiful ministry that he's now over. And, from there, I learned a lot about administration, about leading, about purpose. There is where I figured out what my purpose was. I never forget this Bible study that Pastor Fletcher taught about purpose. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it changed the whole trajectory of my life when
Wow.
I heard that particular Bible study. And I began to ask myself the question, well, what is my purpose? I've served, under other people's vision,
Right.
150%,
Mm.
serving and going and doing and giving of myself. And I'm like, well, Lord, what is it that you have for me? What do you want me to do? So I started down that road at the City of Hope, seeking God, asking Him, what is my purpose? And I got pregnant with my daughter Taylor as well. I was pregnant
Mhm.
with my daughter Taylor, and I was on bed rest.
Mm.
And for the rest of my pregnancy, it was 4 months in, and for the rest of my pregnancy, I was supposed to just be in the bed. So I began to write a book then. I said, oh, I want to write this book. I'll see situations, I'm a quiet person. I observe a
Okay.
lot and I sit back and I learn from others. I learn from their mistakes. I learn from their triumphs. I learn. And it was a particular situation I wanted to write about. So I said, I'm going to write a book. So this book turned into a play. I said,
Wow.
I'm going to make this into a play. I think it was the year prior to that, I went to a Tyler Perry play. I had never been to a play before. It was Medea
Oh.
Goes to Jail,
Uh-huh.
and went to his play. I was on like the second row, and I was like really amazed at that. I had never been to a Black play like that.
Right.
Never been to one. It was funny, it was hilarious, goofy funny, but I
Right.
still had a good time. And I said, I really want to do that. And that stems back to when I was a child. I've always loved to write, always loved to read. My parents didn't let me watch TV. So it's
Nice.
a lot of shows that I had to catch up on because I never seen them.
Right.
Never seen all the Cosbys and
Right.
different shows like that because my mom would not let me watch TV. She would only let me read and
Wow.
she would only let me write. So that was my thing. I used to come up with stories and I have my little even imaginary friends. I'm embarrassed to say now, but
Nice.
I would be directing them in my bedroom,
Oh,
these
wow.
characters
Yeah.
that I made up. So uh coming back to that time, I wrote the play based off of being inspired by Tyler Perry and a host of other things. And
Mhm.
I wrote the play, and it was so crazy when I think about it right now that I wrote this play. I had saved about $11,000,
Wow.
and I went down to the Lyceum Theater and I gave them my $11,000 for the week. And I
Wow.
said, I want to do a play. They didn't ask me who I was, had I ever done it before, none of that. They just took my money and said, okay, we signed the contract.
Wow.
From there, I hired a band, I hired a cast, I wrote my own music.
Wow.
Yes, yes. This is crazy. Hired the crew and everybody, did my little research, hired everybody that I needed. And I did a play in 2008, April, at the Lyceum Theater with no experience, no formal training,
Mm.
no education, no nothing. I just did it because I
Good.
felt I wanted to do it. It was about a year and a half into it. I remember maybe 2 years after being pregnant. I remember my daughter, she was just starting to walk at my rehearsal. She was there at the rehearsal. So we did the play and it was a great success. I don't know if you made that one or not. At that time, it was called Colorblind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I did, and it was so hilarious because we made so many mistakes, but it was so much fun at the
Nice.
same time. The people really enjoyed it. We had a packed house. It was just, the people were just, I love the way the crowd just talked back and everybody laughed and we had fun. And I remember being in a rehearsal preparing for it, and I felt the spirit of the Lord
Wow.
as I was directing. This is what you're supposed to be doing.
Wow.
This is your call. So at the time, I thought it was all about entertainment at the time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going on, and yeah, I'm gonna be an entertainer, I'm gonna be a playwright, and I'm gonna do what Tyler Perry's doing, and this and that and that and the other. I just thought, until God started dealing with me
Mm-hmm.
on the content and why He called me to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
This is a ministry outside of the four walls.
Right.
We have a lot of people that will not enter into a church building, but they will come to a play.
That's right.
They will come to a play. And not to say that my stuff is all religious based. It's not.
Right.
It's not. It's very real, in your face, raw issues and things that we deal with. You came to the soulmate experiment. That was an experience within itself for a lot of couples and married couples
Right.
and people aspiring to be married. They it was a marriage counselor that came. He said, I wish all of my couples can come to this play.
Mm,
That's
nice.
now that was huge. He said, I wish they all could come to this play and see this play, because it had so much information in it about relationships and how we choose and why we choose.
Mm,
So
yeah.
the Lord started dealing with me on those things, and I started writing with substance,
Wow.
and writing with a message, and writing with a purpose, and not just writing to entertain someone.
Yeah.
And I kept doing a few plays. I did My Sister's Keeper, which centered around the HIV and AIDS in our community,
Yep.
and that was a great success. Tommy Ford, rest in peace.
Yeah.
He was a part of our cast. We traveled around the West Coast from city to city and sold out all of our shows with My Sister's Keeper. People were tested that had never been tested for
Nice.
HIV before. We had people, if they test, we would let them in free to the play if they went and got tested. And we
Wow.
partnered with the county and different organizations, to make this happen. It was a great community effort. And I'm telling you, after that, I was hooked. I was hooked. I was like, man, I have to do this. I have to keep doing this format, you know. And it was just such a blessing, and it was just so educational for
Great.
our community. People learned things that they had never learned before about HIV,
Mm-hmm.
so it was a great education till we went around to all the schools
Wow.
and talked to the kids. We went to about 13 schools. They were so impressed that they bought their students tickets. Each district, or not district, but it was like 15 schools that we went to, and they all paid for students to come. So we had a 3 o'clock show filled with students.
Wow. That's incredible.
Incredible, incredible. I'm telling you. So it was just like, wow, okay, Lord. Okay, what's next? What's next? What are we going to do next?
Hmm.
He said, I want you to write, I never heard my father speak.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. He started giving me the storyline. I know this may sound crazy to people, but that's what happens. Things download from heaven.
Yeah.
Words, stories. That's why I can never run dry with stories,
Mm.
because he's the storyteller of all
Yeah.
storytellers.
He is.
So I was like, Lord, I don't know how to write about a teenage young man that doesn't have a father in his home.
Hmm.
So, with that being said, I had to do some research, ask some questions,
Hmm.
and with a few of the community leaders here in San Diego, and talked to a few young men, and wrote the play. And from that, the movie Never Heard was produced from that. And when I did the play, I wasn't supposed to do the play. It
Oh.
was supposed to be a movie.
Mm,
But I said, I don't do movies. I do plays.
mm,
And I couldn't see outside of that. I couldn't see me doing any movies. It looked too big, it looked too broad.
mm.
And it was so crazy. It never, 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 ever rains in San Diego. And I'll never forget this day. We put the play on, and I think it was probably 100 people in the audience
Mm.
in a 800 seater.
Oh, wow.
That has never happened. I
Mhm,
was like, what happened? This is disappointing. This people didn't come. We advertised, we did what we were supposed to do. Why didn't people come?
mhm.
And as sure as I was standing there, a voice came to me and said, it's not a play, it's a film.
Wow. Oh, man.
It's just like, oh man, okay, okay.
Whoa.
And I put it back on God. I said, God, if you want this to be a film, make it happen
Right.
because I don't have the resources. Period.
Yeah.
Why did I say that?
Right. Right.
I got a call from a producer, a film producer. He said, when are you gonna stop? I've known him for a while. He said, when are you gonna stop doing these plays and do film? That's where you need to go. You need to go in the direction of film. I was like, he said, you got any scripts? And I'm like, yeah, I have one. It's called I Never Heard My Father Speak, and it's supposed to be a film. All right, send it over, send it over. So I send it over, and he sends it to the guy, the producer in LA.
Mhm.
And out of 3 scripts, they chose mine.
Wow.
And it was produced and went nationwide. It's now on Netflix
Mhm.
called Never Heard. Um, I was just like, okay, did the script within, I think, 2 weeks. I got a yes. Within, I think, maybe a month, we were on set
What?
filming. Yeah, it
Wow.
was crazy. It was crazy. And I was just, like really, like, okay, God, you really did this. Um, it was a great learning experience, and I know that it was God's will, that everything happened the way it did.
Right.
So many things happened though. When Sony got my script,
Mhm,
they picked it up. Now
mhm.
this is Sony Pictures. You know how huge Sony
Right.
Pictures is.
Right.
And they liked the script
Mhm,
as it was. And they start messing with the script,
mm.
because when sell your script, to a producer, even though it's in your contract, that, hey, you're supposed to run approval by the writer, they didn't do that. And a lot of people do that. I found out later, being a newbie on the block.
Oh, okay.
So they made some changes. They took out some things that were very crucial to our community, you
Oh.
know, some more things that was in there. They put in some overly religious church scenes and things
Oh,
like that. And it was just like, no, there's a way, to execute this to get a message across without thinking you have to throw in a church scene. But
right.
when you are not a believer, that's what you feel you need to do. Oh, we gotta
Right.
throw a church scene, make it churchy, get the church audience in here. And I was like, no, the message is strong
Wow.
by itself. And I was on set. I kept seeing little things here and there, little things, I would mention it. I'm trying not to, be too,
Yeah.
invasive with what I had to tell them. And it just went on and went on. And so the film comes out, and it, granted, it blesses people.
Yeah.
To this day, I get emails and DMs talking about the film really blessed them.
Yeah.
But as a result of them changing that script, we lost that Sony deal.
Oh,
Instead of the 800 theaters it was in, it was supposed to be in over 2,000 theaters across the nation with Sony.
oh, wow.
Imagine that. Over 2,000 theaters, all the way dwindled down to 8 to 1 day release.
Right, right,
It was a 1 day release. With Sony, it would have been in there for like 2 months in the theater with over 2,000 cities.
right.
They lost it. And Sony turned down the cut that they gave them. And they said, let us reshoot it according to the original script.
Really?
Yeah, and the producer said no. They just trying to drum up more money for us to have to pay them back when we recoup, And I was like, man, that's you shouldn't do that. You're gonna recoup it all. It doesn't matter. You're gonna make a lot of money. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So it was just like, man, and all of that was really trying for me, during the whole process. And I remember going to prayer, Mother Langston at
Mhm.
the City of Hope. I love going praying with the mothers because
Yeah,
they know how to get a prayer
they
through.
do.
Oh my goodness. And she told me, she didn't even know that I was a writer or anything. They don't know nothing. They
Right,
just pray.
right,
They don't
exactly.
know.
Yep.
And she prophesied and she said, you a writer.
Mm,
And I was like, yes, ma'am. And she began to say, she said, here's a movie. She said, it's not going to go the way you think,
mm.
but God is still in it and people are going to be blessed. But it's not going to be like all big like you think and this and that and the other. And I'm just looking like, what? I'm
Whoa,
just all the time like, what? She said, but don't worry about that because God got bigger things for you
whoa.
down the line. Don't worry about this one because he got bigger things for you down the line. I'm like, okay. I still didn't want to hear that though. I
Right.
wanted this to be, you know, but Brandon, it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly what it's supposed to do. And I came to grips with that a while ago. I
I-
just blessing people and that's what matters.
yeah.
So yeah, and up until this point, I've recently done a film last summer called The Matchmaker, and that's based on one of my original plays that I wrote. And it's a romantic comedy about a mother who plays the role of the matchmaker to get her son to get back with his ex-girlfriend whom she really really loves. She don't like all the other girls that he brings around. She likes this one.
Oh my goodness.
So she plays the matchmaker, and her son is an NFL football star. So he's kind of all over the place, but she thinks he's lost his way, his roots,
Mhm.
by being a famous athlete.
Yeah.
And she brings him back to home and what's important. So that's what that story is about, and we should be releasing that this year
Yeah.
in December. So looking forward to that, and I have other things, coming. Another anthology series called Evolve. It's the evolution of a Black family,
Wow.
and is really powerful. I would like to release that one by our so-called Black History Month
Mm.
uh,
Yeah.
next year in 2021.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's basically me, all in a nutshell. It's so many layers, to me.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll talk about my family, my husband.
Mhm.
We've been married going on 10 years,
Wow.
and a blended family.
Hmm.
He had his daughter, and I had my daughter.
Hmm.
I can't say when we met because I knew Eddie 17 years before we got married. I met him
Wow.
at North Park when he was with his wife,
Uh-huh.
who passed away. His wife passed away when she was only in her 30s, early 30s.
Wow.
So uh, I knew him and knew his wife. I knew what kind of man he was. I knew what kind of um, uh, Christian he was.
Yeah.
I knew a lot about him. That's how he was able to get into pocket with me because I
Right. Right.
Because I knew, him. Otherwise, I was very guarded.
I bet.
Wasn't interested in being married again at
Right.
all. It was just going to be me and my daughter, and my career and the things that I'm doing. So, but with great persistence and
Nice. That always helps.
he broke through. He broke through. He laughs about that and tells everybody that all the time. I'm like, babe, could you not tell that story? He's
That's
always
good.
talking about, man, I had to do some chasing.
Right?
And it was just, baby girl was hurt.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I was hurt from my,
yeah,
my previous marriage
yeah,
and still in love
yeah.
with that previous man.
Right,
That don't just go away.
right.
They don't
Exactly.
they don't just, oh, okay. It that
Right.
doesn't happen. So Eddie, he had to peel through some layers. And I
Wow.
told him, I said, if you want me, you're gonna have to peel through all these layers.
Yeah.
I've been hurt, I don't trust too easily,
Hmm.
and several other things that go
Right.
back to childhood too.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I was brutally honest
Yeah.
with Eddie about a lot of things coming into the relationship. I didn't put my best foot forward.
Hmm.
I told him, this is the ugly side of me. Here's all the good, the ugly, the bad, all of it. This is
Yeah.
me. And if you could deal with that and you still want me after all that, then okay.
Wow.
Okay.
That's
So
wonderful.
that's what he did. He took the time, to peel back those layers. He's a very patient man.
Okay.
It's so funny. During the chase, I said to myself, okay, if he let me see how much this man really, really wants me. And I said to him, hey, I need a set built for this play. I need somebody to take care of that for me. Can you take care of that for me? His first response was, I don't know how to do that. And he said, you know what? Wait a minute. He said, I'll figure it out.
What?
That dude, he built a whole set for me
Whoa.
and has been building my sets ever since.
What?
I don't know if he went on YouTube, what he did, ask questions, ask his dad. I don't know, but he made it happen.
That's
He
amazing.
made it happen. So now he builds my sets, he hires the crew, he runs all that.
Nice.
That's Eddie.
Yeah.
So
That's love.
when he did that, I was like, what? I was, then I was like, what? He really do like me. So that's kind of where, I opened up a little bit more
Right.
and our friendship started to blossom
Hmm.
even more. And I started to see him, in a whole different light,
Right.
too. You know, it's so funny. I didn't see him as attractive. Well, I shouldn't have anyway, but because both of us was married, but I just never seen him like that. You
Right.
know what I mean? I just never seen him that way. And I remember the first time I looked at him and I said, "Oh, he's cute."
Right. Right. Right.
It was like that. And he
Yeah.
told me the same thing. He said, just one day he just saw me differently.
Nice.
Before that was my homeboy. Hey,
Yeah.
what's up?
Yeah.
That's all it was. And people think to this day that we must have been liking each other, and it couldn't
Right.
be further from the truth. That man loved his wife,
Yeah.
and I love my husband.
Yep.
And they just, how people are. They
Oh
just want
yeah.
to be messy or
Yep.
whatnot. But we were
Exactly.
friends, and that's it. And
Yeah.
I'm so happy. Um, that we became more than that. I'm so
Right.
happy. He's like perfect for me.
Yeah.
It's perfect. I couldn't get no more perfect than that,
Exactly.
than
Oh my
Eddie. So
goodness.
yeah. And
That
my
is.
two girls, I got two girls,
uh,
Taylor and Tiara, straight A students, 16 and
Nice.
14, doing very well. Awesome young ladies.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
So
I
if you
love
got
it.
any
Really.
questions for me, fire away. I'm open now. I'm like,
I
oh, I'm
know.
open.
You shared such a good journey. I love that. My only question is, what did you learn from all this? What's been the one biggest thing you've learned? And then what's your encouragement to other people, not trying to be like you, but at least to keep
Mhm.
striving on their own journeys? What's that one piece of advice that you have?
Yeah, what I've learned the most is to trust in my abilities and trust in the Lord.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned the most, and just don't lean to my own understanding. And I would say to someone aspiring to go this route is that you keep working hard.
Mhm.
You get people around you, mentors,
Mhm.
that I was fortunate to be able to be mentored by some pretty dope people,
Nice.
writers and directors and actors,
Mhm.
and be able to glean from them, you know um, prior to and during this journey.
Mhm.
And get on every set that you can and learn and be open, to learn, and be open to criticism. I remember when I gave my script to somebody and they was like, what the heck is this? They was like, what is this? What are you doing?
Oh.
They said the concept is good, the
Uh-huh.
story is good, but hey, you got to develop these characters, you got to structure, you format, what are you doing?
Oh,
Why is this? Why is that? They tore me up, Brandon. When
oh,
I say tore me up, I was like, oh shoot. And I was thinking, let me give him the
yeah,
script.
it's good.
Let me give him the script. Bam!
Yep. They're like,
They
no.
tore me to pieces. But I appreciate it. I
Right.
I really appreciate that. And I have been able to grow from that criticism. They said to me, hey, I'm doing this for your own good. I got tore up too, so I'm gonna do it to you. That's what
Yeah.
they said to
Right.
me. They said, so I'm gonna do it to you because I see a raw talent there, and I want you to grow. So I would say be open to criticism
Mhm.
and surround yourself with people that you will grow and in certain settings that you will grow in.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, and realize and know your purpose. Don't
oh
just
yeah.
go into something just because it looks fun or it
Right.
looks like, oh, I'm going to get a lot of attention, or for just reasons that are just not good. And a lot of people do that. They'll, oh, it looks fun, I want to do that, and they'll just go do something. No, really sit and think about what your purpose is. Pray about it. If you're not a person that prays and you're not a believer or a Christian or whatnot, just really have that time with yourself to think about what are the things that I'm good at and I like. I can't live without those things that drive me,
Mm,
that I can't, seem to get away from. It keeps calling me.
yeah.
It's usually
Yeah.
that thing that keeps calling you, that is your purpose. So I would say, and when you find out what that purpose is, this I was going to do a few speaking engagements on this called answering the call,
Mm,
because a lot of us know what our purpose is and we know what we're supposed to be doing,
mhm.
but we have a problem answering the call.
Yes.
It's like I'm not good enough.
Yep.
I don't have the resources. Kind of what I did with
Right. Right.
Never Hurt.
Right.
I don't have the resources. I don't, this. I'm not this. I'm not like this person.
Right.
You know, you can't be that way, and it stops a lot of us from answering the call
Yes.
to begin with, because we have all those things in between that we're dealing with us, and we're standing in the way of
Yeah.
what's in front of us. So I would say, answer the call, after you find out what your purpose is, and go for it 100% with all you got, and trust in the Lord with all your heart.
Yeah. That's powerful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
The last question
absolutely.
is, you said it a little bit earlier, but how can people support you now? Either follow on social media or any projects you have coming up now. Diamond in the rough. Yes.
Yeah, baby,
Diamond
diamond in the
in the rough.
rough. That's
What's next? Come on.
that's my next feature film
Mm,
that I'm going to be doing. Diamond in the Rough centers around human trafficking.
mm,
Okay. And we all know that that is a big, 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 big problem right now,
yeah.
everywhere,
Mhm.
worldwide. But San Diego is, I think number two. I think yeah, it's number two in
Wow.
the nation for human trafficking. We're right by the border.
Right, right.
So I'm not only doing this, I'm doing this because of personal experience too. I had a niece who was in the life,
Mm-hmm.
and she's doing better now, but it wore us out
Wow.
trying to get her out of that environment. The way that they brainwash them, the way that they groom them to get them in, it's crazy. So Diamond in the Rough is a film, but we're planning on, in connection with the film, doing an outreach
Wow.
as well, kind of like what I did with My Sister's Keeper.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to travel around to schools, to different cities, with the celebrities. Everybody who is on board with this movie has to be on board with the movement as well.
Mm, I like that.
Yeah, so we're going to be educating. We're going to be possibly getting some girls out to life. Even on the film set, we are talking with organizations where we want them to come and work on the film set. The girls who have been delivered from that life,
Mm-hmm.
and we want them to come and be a part of this. So we have a lot of wonderful things planned and coming up. I don't want to put it all out the bag because I have
Right.
a GoFundMe
Okay.
that's coming up to help fund this film. We have a investor that wants to put up half if I get the other half.
Okay.
So that's amazing right there in itself, because I needed a big budget for this because I want some good names
Yeah.
in this film, some really, really good names in this film. I have an idea of who I want. So I need money to make that happen. Not so much for the crew and everything else, is for to get these people, you
Right.
know, in, and hopefully I can get them to sign up for this movie and this film. But I'm really excited about Diamond in the Rough. One of the ways that you can support is to go buy a T-shirt for $25.
Perfect.
That's one of the ways that people can support. Just go to my website, tamerahillproductions.com, or you can go to diamondintherough.info. Either one of those will take you straight to where you can purchase a t-shirt, and that will be very much appreciated by my team and I. I'm partnering with a nonprofit called Creative Flow Arts and Entertainment,
Mm,
and they're partnering with me on this endeavor. So we got a fantastic team. They're really excited about everything that we're going to do. The Some of the proceeds from this film is going to go to build safe houses. We are serious.
oh
We
yeah.
are seriously. This is a movement,
Yeah.
and why do this stuff if you're not gonna like really help the community? What's the point, so I've partnered with some great people with great hearts and minds, and talented people, to on this endeavor. So be looking for some information about it. And I would appreciate if everyone just push it, and make it a community effort, a San Diego effort, kind of like what we did for My Sister's Keeper.
Right.
We did that. We all jumped in as a community and we
Yep.
supported this like crazy. So I need that same support from San Diego and abroad,
Right.
but especially San Diego because we're shooting right here in San Diego.
Yeah.
So we got some wonderful perks too for people who donate. They'll get to come on set. They'll get to take pictures with celebrities and come to the red carpet, and just a whole lot of little special perks that they'll receive if they donate. And we have certain tiers or whatnot. So yeah, I'm
Excellent.
excited about that. That's what I want to talk about the most.
Excellent. I
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to.
But you can go to my website, find out everything else that we're doing.
Excellent. Well, I will make sure I push that out to this audience, everybody who listens. You heard what we got to do. We got to support this diamond in the rough. I'm
Let's
excited.
do it. Let's
Thank
do
you.
it.
Thank you for your time, for sharing this inspirational journey. Like, this has really inspired me. Like, I thought I knew a little bit of it. I'm like, man, I learned a lot. This is encouraging,
Yeah,
inspiring.
people don't really know me like they think they know me.
Right.
I hear stories in the wind and I'm like, really?
That's me.
Me? No, you really don't know me.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I've enjoyed doing this podcast, just to get to hear people's stories because it's so powerful. Because
Yeah.
like you said, I love that keyword you kept saying. There's so many layers to you. And that's what
Mhm.
I'm finding out about people. It's just so much that people think they know you from just social media or from this one part of your life. But it's like there's so much to you. I've loved how you've just been open and honest and sharing that. And it's so powerful. You get to see, like you said, the different layers and the power in each layer that you have. So I'm grateful. You thank you
Thank
so
you for
much.
having me. I enjoyed myself. Thank you so much.